Hello, legalese tubers, and welcome back to Let's Play Phoenix Wright Ace Ankylo. Hopefully the final section of it with me, BlueAnkylo. We're gonna kind of go a little quick because it's getting real late in my stream right now, and I want to get this thing wrapped up before too much longer. I'm already like an hour over time right now. So, goals for today: interrogate Lana, figure out how we can prove that Gant is behind everything. We've got an awful lot of evidence. The more pages of evidence you have, the more difficult things get. So, we're gonna try. Not everything, though. She's been very quiet. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Emma might be the key here to tricking her into telling the truth and not trying to defend her. This is 2014. It's whatever time your clock is at in your DS. I think it's 2015, actually. I think it's exactly the date we're in. Maybe it's not set to your time, but it's very, very modern anyway. Maybe it was supposed to be ahead of the future a little bit, but I think we've already caught up to it if it was supposed to be in the future when they made it. Alright, so I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma. Ha! Yeah, not so sure about that. He's just gonna tell us that Gant's innocent, huh? Whenever she speaks stiffly like that, she's hiding something. Well, why didn't you tell us about that earlier? She's been hiding something our entire trip. The defense may now begin its cross. Alright, let's do this. So, we'll start with the old pressing. You never know what you're going to get from these. Exactly how many years? 5 years. Fair enough. Legendary duo. Dynamic, even. Damon Gant was a respectable detective. Supposedly. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. But think about it, Miss Skye. You didn't murder Detective Goodman. You told me as much yesterday in jail. Well, she did. Yeah, I'm aware of that. Unless we, like, recorded it. Why didn't I record it? You should have had tape recorders by then, or, you know, your phone could have recorded it or something. I stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. And, well, she did stab him with a knife, but not before he was already dead. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. But we already... Did we prove... We haven't, beyond a shadow of a doubt, proved that the evidence was in... Well... We got his ID number from his safe, which should have shown, unless she also knew his ID number, that he put the pot, the weird jar, like you know what I mean? Like, it couldn't have been just her if that ended up there. But he kept saying, what if we fabricated it? So I don't know if we ever got out of that. She did self-defense completely. She was traumatized. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. So this is the 2 years ago again. You say you did this all by yourself. Would you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene? Okay, so she claims to be the first person there. The broken prosecutor award knife was stuck. Nah, you see, that can't be right. We proved that already. That's inconsistent. That's how he died. Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident. No. She's just gonna stick to her version of events. So she wants to say Marshall was killed by Dark, no matter what. So what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife. So you found the scene, what did you do? I broke off the tip of Dark's knife, planted it inside the wound, then moved the body. Why would she do that, though? So... she claims that she walked in and saw... It's getting complicated, sorry. That she... like, okay, this is where we're going to be able to present it, because she's claiming that she broke the knife. Although it was complicated, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to press her first, but it was difficult for me to figure this part out, because it didn't look like it. Which one is it? One of these. This thing. We were supposed to assume that this was a broken knife. This is a picture of a broken knife, not a knife. I argued that it didn't look like either one, but whatever. Emma's testimony was that she saw them struggle with an already broken knife. Whereas Lana is now testifying that she broke the knife after he'd been stabbed with the pointy knife and put the tip in the body. So I'm pretty sure that's the catch. And exactly how would you do that? Just shove that tip in there. I'm pretty sure your forensics could figure that out. Alright, why did you plant the knife? Let's see what she says. The reason Miss Skye fabricated the knife. I knew the tip of the weapon found buried in his body would be all the proof I needed. According to your testimony, Prosecutor Marshall's broken knife was the murder weapon. Alright, so she's trying to claim that this thing from the trophy was the murder weapon. Leaving it at that might point the blame away from Dark. I felt the most effective way to get him convicted would be by having the tip of his knife found inside the victim's body. Only motivation was to get Dark convicted. Nothing to do with Emma. So you rearranged the crime scene. Are you sure you didn't do this to keep Emma from looking like the murderer? Alright, well, I'm pretty sure the broken knife bit is going to be the catch for the first step here. This is the bit she added. I'm going to save it because these are all risky and I can't waste my time right now. I've been doing pretty good though on my recent guesses, so... We don't have a lot of evidence from this crime, obviously, because it was in the past. So I'm pretty sure Emma's testimony that the attacker had a broken knife is going to be the key here. We'll see. Nope, I am wrong. And they don't even inspect what I was going to say. Game logic denied. Alright, let's try something else. It could just be I have to present it at this point, which would suck. So we'll do that quick just in case it's a timing problem rather than a... Nope. Nope. Alright. Alright, so then let's use some logic here. Don't just randomly guess stuff. The question is, how do we prove that she fabricated it or find any contradictions we can? I thought I had a contradiction. It should have been. But, it is usually related, if you can get them to add more testimony, that's usually related to what you're gonna contradict. Do you think his autopsy would have found if someone had stabbed him, pulled out the knife, and then shoved a tip of a blade in there? I would think that, logically speaking, the autopsy would notice that you have a stab wound, and also someone shoved a piece in afterwards. Because that would cause more damage trying to shove that bit of the blade in. I'll try that. Nope, logic denied again. Alright, so what else could we think of? I'm having a hard time with this start. It's gotta be something like that, though. Logic, logic, logic. What have I got? This game, it's just... This is literally the DS version. So she claims that this weapon was in Marshall's body. She removed it, broke Dark's knife, and left the tip of Dark's knife in. This being Dark's knife. I don't even know how you would break a knife just in the heat of the moment like that. How the heck could you just manually break a knife? I guess there's probably enough objects around she could have done it. Found some tool. That's probably the wrong way. So, what else have we got? She's also ignoring our jar that has Emma's name and blood prints on it. Okay, well, yeah. Okay, let's go. Remember, I said that earlier, too. The other thing that I thought it might have been was because a piece of the jar was locked in Damon Gant's safe, how could she have done that by herself? Still not right, huh? Well, seems pretty obvious to me that that was correct, but you just need to use your eyes a little better there, Judgy. I'm getting real stumped on this one. So what else is there? I'm working my way down all the possible contradictions here. Only motivation was to get Dark convicted. Nothing to do with Emma. Could we prove that she wanted to help Emma? We haven't had a way to link this in yet. It's not time for that yet. What am I missing? It feels like I've tried all my obvious ideas. It's not going to be it. Actually, just want to check though. Did it update with Gant? No, we actually haven't... We know it, but it's not been verified yet by anybody. Does this tie it to Emma at a later date? Like, she's claiming the thing from 2 years ago has nothing to do with Emma. But the phone call at the more recent murder was her phoning Emma about the muffler, which had the knife from this original murder in it. I think it's a stretch, but I'm kind of running out of ideas. No. But that does kind of mean, you know, you'd think that would kind of tie Emma into it again. Man, I'm just getting squished here. All by herself, specifically, she says. Could question whether or not she could pick someone up. I don't know. I guess she could probably move one guy around on her own. Is there anything in here? Probably not. Any suggestions from the chat? Now that I'm running out of personal ideas. This isn't going to be it, not yet. Yeah, pork and chaps. Steadiest shark forgets. Pork and chaps forgets. So what am I possibly missing? It's just some little point. I'm not. Okay, let's see my hint. Go to the end. Sometimes you get a hint. Sometimes something they say at the end when they recycle back to the beginning. Something. She's determined to protect you to the end. Insists she fabricated the evidence by herself. There's no way she could have done it alone, so maybe that's the line I should be presenting on. Alright, sometimes they give you tips for that part. If she's lying, she's bound to slip up and make a contradiction. So... You asked her why. I've pressed her on everything already. I mean, I could double press stuff, but I have pressed her on every statement. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. Yeah, when we pressed her on this one, move the body, that's when she added that by burying the tip of the weapon, that would be all the proof she needs. Right, I did have a choice. Can I change that choice retroactively? Let's sort of zip through this again. Maybe I picked the wrong one or something. I hate it when they do that. Yeah, I asked her why she planted the knife instead of why did she move the body. That's right. I didn't think to go back. It was by Chief Gant's desk. Alright, so this is different, but yeah, okay. The body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there? Fair enough. It's kind of weird you have to rerun the same pressing and just choose the other option. The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan. So, yeah, by going through this one, it's kind of weird. By changing the pressing on this line, changes what you get after it. So, she could tell you about how leaving the tip of the knife, like, you can only get one or the other. The tip of the knife bit or the pieces of the jar bit. That's weird. Weird, weird, weird. I don't like it when they split it up like that. I want both of those lines in the testimony. In order to show that Dark committed the crime, I felt it would be more expedient to move the body. If you look at the crime scene, it would be clear right away what happened. It's alright, Steady as Shark. I kind of forgot that I picked one of two, and I didn't expect... I thought because, like, usually if you pick one and they give you more dialogue, you pick the right one, and the wrong one would have just done nothing or got you a strike. So I thought I'd pick the right option, good, now we gotta figure out what's next. Not, oh, try the other one and it'll unlock a different route, but sometimes the game just messes with you. So Neil Marshall was dead and Dark was unconscious. In other words, the jar must have been broken during their struggle. Right. Alright, so now we have we broke the tip of Dark's knife, planted in the wound, moved the body. The pieces of the jar that shattered during my events, in the event, stripped my path. Okay. Now that she's talking about the jar, can I present the fact that the jar was inside of Damon Gant's safe? Like, I literally presented the safe last time, or the jar safe idea last time, and it didn't work. But, maybe now that we've got her to talk about it, that's why she moved the body. But how did you hide all the pieces of the shards?
Objection!
All right. It was presenting evidence I'd already presented, but following a different path of questioning. Crazy. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister. If that truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been useless. Even so, I'm compelled to bring everyone's attention to a significant contradiction within your testimony. You testified, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan." Ah, that's right. It's a simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on this jar with the victim's blood. This was really sketchy, too, why Neil would write Emma on the vase that was broken. Ah, that means it couldn't have been broken. Ha! In order for the victim to be able to write his message on the jar, it must not yet have been broken. I figured it out literally as we were talking about it. It was a twinkling of a thought as we were connecting the dots the first time. Now it makes way more sense. Excellent. It would appear more information is needed in regard to this jar and its bloody message. Something critical. She doesn't know about this either. Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive at the truth. Alright, this changes things. This is good. I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar. But it was dark in the room, and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered. Right. So if she wiped away the message, there was one piece that wasn't wiped away. She didn't think Dark was the real murderer. She tried to erase real evidence. Well, I think I know where this is leading. Shouldn't have to do so many save loads this time. I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar. Right. You couldn't read them because it was dark. There's a power outage. Totally fair. It's a miracle that thing hadn't broken earlier. It does look... Hey, hey, hey! You're an ace detective who never missed a detail. Do you really believe us, want us to believe, you didn't investigate what was written on the jar pieces? Normally she would have, but it was dark. That is fair. She probably didn't have a lot of time either. So you didn't know your sister's name was written in the jar. If I had known, I would have gathered all the pieces and ground them to dust. It actually does kind of help. Anyway, I just barely had enough time to move the body as it was. If someone happened upon the scene, you'd lose your chance to erase the evidence. You must have been in a hurry. Knew I had to destroy the evidence before anyone came. She's kind of hot. Well, she's got that military officer look. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. If you really thought Dark killed Prosecutor Marshall, you wouldn't have wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got them all. But you couldn't see... a pocket light and a camera. Very nice. Well then, how did you miss the one that I found? More contradictions. Okay. Gotta be careful. Uh-oh. Phoenix has figured it out before I have, for sure. So... let's see here. She's in the dark. To be safe... she wiped away the blood. So I'm pretty sure... I'm just going to save it here. I don't want to have to redo anything. The trick is that one of the pieces was not wiped clean. One of the pieces was different. They made that abundantly clear earlier. Which is to say, She got all the pieces that were left when she got there. Someone else must have got one already. So I think that's it. We'll see if Phoenix knows what I'm talking about. Miss Sky, I believe this jar conceals a truth even you were unaware of. We found the final piece of this jar in Chief Gant's safe. There's something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was still blood on it. She says she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off. Which leaves us with only one explanation. On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first one to show up on the scene. Chief Gant got there before you. Which he should have, because he was chasing Dark with Marshall. Object to the judge! I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective. Alright, Judge, you need to retire. This is ridiculous. Thanks, Edgeworth. When the witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken. There's no way a name could have been written on a shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness. Objection again! The question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide the fact for 2 years? Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that? Maybe Marshall was not the one who wrote the name in blood. Because I don't know why he would have written Emma. Especially when he was hanging off of a spear from his armor. Damon Gant arrived at this crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar and purposefully hid one of the broken pieces. Question: what is this action called? Fabrication. But why would Chief Gant do that? Yeah, they only have objections. They haven't added Tell the Truths and all of the other versions they get into the later games yet. Discovering the scene, Lana Skye believed her sister Emma killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Lending her his aid, Gant helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Emma. And here is the reason. The reason why Miss Skye became the Chief's puppet. Defense attorneys make up the most foul lies. What are you talking about? Wait a minute. What if we're still smack dab in the middle of Gant's trap? Gant prepares very well, you see. Lana may be right after all. You do tell foul lies. Please testify once more. If evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Professor Marshall might also be a lie. Dun dun dun! Miss Skye, if you will. Thanks, Edgeworth. Helping me out. The truth, finally, please. Actual crime scene. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on that suit of armor sword. Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what had happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gant help me remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all really was a fabrication, Emma might be innocent. So, what do we got? Now we know for sure that the body was impaled on the sword, as Emma said, but now we know that that's what Lana walked in to see. She has proof. It's a picture I took of the crime scene as I encountered it. Well, thanks. She's pretty good at this lawyer stuff. Very well, Mr. Wright. This picture. Well, there's only one thing we got this morning. Maybe we didn't read that book very well this morning. Let's have a quick look. Evidence law. What's this on the back? Probably nothing. I would just open it up, sure. Oh look, we never even opened it. So good at law. Here's a picture here. Impaled on a sword. Doesn't quite look like a normal vest. Something's missing. The actual crime scene. 2 years. No one submitted this evidence even once. Alright. That piece cut out from the vest. Ooh, what? Interesting. Handprint with Emma's fingerprints on it. So... Tricky, tricky. Actual crime scene. Alright, let's do this. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body in... Wait. Damon Gant, you're not allowed up here anymore. You forfeited your right to talk. No, you're not allowed. Thank you, Edgeworth. It's too late for that. You already declined testimony. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort. Sorry. Knockout. Sorry, Ed. Sorry. We're just gonna have to do this without that. He doesn't need to make any statements, that's right. You can still present evidence, Very well. More evidence that he's hidden from everyone for years. Why have you been keeping quiet about it? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death. Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt? We don't want Emma to be the murderer, though. If you try anything, you will be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries. I'm pretty sure I know what to do, but I will save it. Hold on. See, you just gotta remember that Damon Gamp is a psychopath, and this is all part of his trap. Sorry, Damon, we've been unable to show this evidence. Sorry. I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. It's not a lie. Really? I don't know what you're talking about. It's because he's already poked holes into our... The first time we showed evidence from his safe, remember the jar piece and the evidence list? He said we might have just planted it. So, alright, let's just let him present it himself. How does Chief Gant know about this, though? That's what's interesting. So Gant is saying that there's a piece of the vest missing. And he knows where it is. In fact, he knows that it's in his safe. Well, that's very clever. You've been concealing evidence all this time? What a scandal! Look, you're not even allowed to present testimony right now. You can't even talk. You've already been told to go home. You forfeited the right to testimony, you fool. You fool. So now he's testifying anyway. As always, the rules contradict themselves when they decide to. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana. I knew Lana. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister, that when she saw the scene, she would ask for my aid. I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. And Edgeworth ended up using the evidence to get Joe Dark convicted. When we rearranged the crime scene, I hid 2 pieces of evidence. I did this before Lana arrived at the scene. You mean those items in your safe? For insurance, of course. I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed. You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging evidence? Yeah, he could have blackmailed her for all sorts of crazy stuff, I'm sure, in a couple years. I didn't make chief of police by dumb luck. See this jar fragment? I hid the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off all the pieces. But if you fabricated all the evidence, what's to say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar too? Thanks, Edgeworth, I appreciate that. That's why I kept 1 more item for insurance. You mean that piece of cloth? Uh-oh. So you admit to it then, Chief God, that you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe. I didn't want to have to do that, being Chief and all. But it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer. Right, Judge. It's been a long battle, but the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up here, victory is mine. Okay, hold on. Let me think about this for a second. So all through this, the secret trick has been using freaking evidence law. As much as they contradict themselves all the time. I'm not sure our evidence has been approved by the police department. And it definitely wasn't. It was because it was not shown with the approval of the police department. It was unregistered. And it must be relevant to the case in trial. So it wasn't up until this point. Now that he has said... I don't know. I'm so messed up right now. I think if I say cannot show evidence now, I'm lost. I think now is the time, finally. The evidence that shows who actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall. Can I deke him out with something else? Be lovely if I could just use something other than the cloth he wants me to show. Show the badge. Okay, my logic here is we show this that does have Emma Sky's fingerprints. We've been saving it for a long, long time. I think now's the time. He could easily, she was already unconscious, he could easily have cut it out and put her fingerprints on it after the fact. That wouldn't have been a problem at all. How would he even have known they were her fingerprints if she was unconscious when he walked into the room? Alright, I think it's time. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. And there's a handprint on this piece of cloth. It has left a strong impact. It must be authentic, conclusive evidence. Well, I say it could have been forged. Wright had all this time to present the evidence, yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be? You mean you already know? In fact, I do. I hope I didn't mess this up. But I think Phoenix knows what to do now. Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Very well. I'll tell you. It should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. He's not telling us his secret strategy, but you can't lie about these sorts of things because they are literally her fingerprints. There's nothing we can do to change that. Yes, Emma. So he thinks he's won. You knew this girl did it all along, and you still tried to pin the murder on me. Ah, not so simple. The girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death. Well, hold on. Just hold on, Lana. I think I did this right. You acted like she really didn't? It's alright. She didn't. It's not over. I said this trial isn't over yet. You purposely concealed... Remember when I said the thing about the double negatives for evidence law? Yeah. Pressing charges for not showing evidence that wasn't linked to the trial, you say? I don't think that's possible. Cat got your tongue, as if. Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up. Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? Chief Gant, you are absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask? No. I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. I never really examined this one very closely. Maybe I should have looked at it better. I'm talking about a contradiction. One that proves who the real killer is. Did I never actually investigate that piece of leather properly? Bad form. Your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth is... Oh man. Can I just look at this for a second? What exactly am I doing here? Okay, so like... Let me just think about this for a second. It's definitely her handprint cut off from his thingamajigger. The reason we couldn't show it was because we didn't know about this until very, very recently. And we didn't know that he'd hidden that piece of cloth. I'm gonna save it, but I think it's the picture. Because... Well, for one, shouldn't there be blood all over it? No, if she pushed him before, the blood would go over it afterwards. That helps him more than me. How does... this help me? I'm trying to remember the final link here. The piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth. Was it cut out earlier? Can't really see. They cleverly concealed this section of his vest. What was it? What am I missing? It would have blood all over it because he had to cut it after the impact. Well, yeah, see, my initial thought was it should have blood on it. He could have wiped... Well, I don't know, leather, can you wipe it off that easily? I think it's the picture. We're gonna go with the picture. This is the... I'm not sure exactly why. We'll see him logic it out, but I'm pretty sure it's the picture. See where the piece of his vest was cut out. Yeah, see, it should have been bloody. Yeah. That's what I was sort of thinking originally. So, because he bled... His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth. Right? Cloth is not bloody. Since Emma Sky's fingerprints are on the cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword. Now then, Chief Gant, let me ask you something. Now he's testifying again. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside. He most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out. If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Sky? Lana Sky, that is. Picked up the unconscious prosecutor and impaled him on the armor's sword. Then, to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. I always thought it was suspicious that Neil Marshall would, even if Emma had killed him, why would he be writing her name? Because it was all in the dark. He shouldn't have known anything about that. Then he broke the jar on purpose, to leave behind a clue, and make Lana believe her sister did it. Remember what you admitted only moments ago, that you personally cut out the bloodless piece of the victim's vest. Ironic, isn't it? Through the very act of creating insurance, you proved that you were the actual murderer. Lightning eyes, I like that. It's finished. Congratulations, everyone. You can't object. No objecting allowed. You're sunk, Gant. Have to do better than that. Whoa! You can't refute my allegations. You see that piece of cloth is illegal evidence. Tut. I followed the rules, boy. We almost never follow the rules, but we followed them this once. Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. I did conceal that piece of cloth for a while. You're correct. And I very carefully used some lawyerese to say, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. Very, very clever. I think Phoenix knew what he was up to before I caught on. At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence. He's hooting. Especially considering he's not even supposed to be allowed to talk right now in the witness stand. Like, he forfeited his right to argue like this ages ago. Yeah, I read the huge book of evidence law, that's right. One piece of paper. It seems at last the time for me to reveal my trump card. My trap card! Did I purposefully and illegally conceal this piece of cloth? I did not illegally conceal it. I refused to present evidence at one point. No. Objection to you and your dumbness. No, it isn't, Mr. Gant. It's not that I didn't present evidence then. It's that I couldn't. There are certain procedures involved with presenting evidence. Don't listen to him! I love it when he's just crying. Begging for mercy. Is this evidence legal or not? Earlier, you refused to present evidence. If you can prove... Man, I've been streaming way too long. I can't even hardly read anymore. Speak. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now. We've only got one law book, so we're going to use it. This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law. I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth. Nothing more. You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of evidence law. Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. I found this piece of evidence myself, inside your safe. It goes without saying, I did not have approval from the police department. Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case in trial. And here is the crux of the matter. You see, at the time it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident. Just take one look at this picture and objection! Sorry, but can you recall when was that picture presented? Only a few moments ago. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Damon Gant. You yourself confessed to a certain truth. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Oh yes, there you go. It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this cloth. The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer. And there's only one person who that could be. Damon Gant, the killer was you. He's broken. he's busted. His clapping machine done clapped himself out. That good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years he's been snooping around the department. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me. Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty. He wanted to reinvestigate the case. Recruited Angel Starr, then convinced Bruce Goodman. Yeah, that's right. If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you gotta help me. Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit. He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence. Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to fill a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden he had to speak out. Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? Can't transfer the evidence out. There's too many questions left unanswered. Goodman was a good man in the end. And that's what did him in. It's not too late. I'll hand this to Marshall. Well, to be honest, I was a little panicked too. Had a bad feeling about it, but never knew it would come to this. It's when I saw it, that accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out. You'd only increase the amount of blood, and you couldn't finish what you started. Even so, the blood was just pouring out. Didn't know who might stumble in, so I was wiping it up. I was worrying so much about the floor I didn't realize my mistake. Bloody handprint. Used to be known as the crime computer. But everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. Put the body in Edgeworth's car. Couldn't think of any other way to move it. Broke the trunk, but what's the big deal? You pull down a lot more us. You pull down a lot more than us detectives. I think the chief of police gets paid pretty well, but you know. What does this have to do with anything? You're horrible. How could you get Miss Sky involved in all of this? So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker. Couldn't sit around and pick and choose what to take. You left the jar fragments and gloves. Yeah. Looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. I'm curious why he left the glove keeping the thing open. Because he must have, as he was cleaning up, left the glove in the locker blocking the scanner so that when Jake showed up later, he could open it. I don't know why he would have done that. Just really, really sloppy. Somehow set that up. Seems intentional, though. Maybe he was going to try to sneakily frame Jake or something later on. I don't know. He's not exactly the sharpest tool in the box. Well, someone, like, you still have to consciously set it up so that someone else can open this locker. I don't know what the point of that would have been. I don't think you could just accidentally do that. One day you'll understand. If you want to take them on alone, you'll figure out what's needed. Come on, do I get my confetti party yet? Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Gant's going away for double murder and all kinds of obstruction of justice and lying and fabricating evidence and on and on and on. Quite the rap sheet if I could write it out. You were once a fine investigator, an example to others on the force. Sorry to learn, you're no longer that person. You have Wright-o and Worthy. Funny how he goes out in style at the end here. You see, if I listen carefully, I can hear it right now. Sound of a new beginning. Wright-o and Worthy. He does go out with some style, I'll give him that. A lot of the other ones you finally convict go out in shrieks and hollers and you have to drag them out. There are two things I want you to understand. First, your sister never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Miss Sky, you no longer have any reason to keep silent. Later on, Porky. From the time I had Gant help me forge evidence up until today, Lana finally comes clean. Seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered. I'm sorry, Miss Sky, I couldn't get you out of all your trouble. I mean, I have good standards. Still, you did cooperate even though you were blackmailed, so you'll get in some trouble. Fabricated evidence, you were part of some illegal prosecution troubles, you know. This would be tricky. I might make it to the top in a few years. How many games away is a few years? I've so far done like 4 cases in like 7 or 8 months, I believe. It's true. One of the good things here is by her coming clean at last and taking fault with Damon, I think this will finally clear Edgeworth's name. I will give Edgy some credit. He definitely helped out. In this case especially, he was like my wingman rather than my opponent. He didn't object to hardly anything I said other than we had our little objection battles back and forth, but those are all in good fun, really. Innocent of murder, however, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as his accomplice. The trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date. Fairly minor, though. You're not going to do hardcore prison time, probably. The way these games go, she's probably just going to get fired. Free of these heavy chains, at last. Well, this has been a long freaking trial. It's time to end it. Regarding the charge of murder, the court finds the defendant, Miss Lana Skye, not guilty. And finally, the confetti party we all deserve. Hip hip hooray. That's it. Court is adjourned. Everybody go home. Happy music. Mostly happy music. At least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit. And you as well. I can see why Mia Fey thought so highly of you. I owe you my thanks, Mr. Wright. She finally smiled. Took her a long time. You did good, Emma. You were a pretty good sidekick. Oh, just give her a minute. Gumshoe jumps in front of her. You're always interrupting, Gumshoe. Every single episode. Come on, let him say what he wants to say. Making the detective run around while on duty? Did I call him here? I don't remember calling him over here. Lighten up! I wonder if he gets to keep his job now that Demon Wrong is off to jail. Oh, look! She's still under arrest, you know. Ah, you know how it is. Gumshoe's our pal now. So for 2 years, Lana thought her sister killed Neil Marshall and was covering it up all this time. But that's all because of Damon Gant. Pretty tough way to live for a couple years. He'd tricked her from the very beginning. Yeah, I don't blame her. Everybody's happy. Finally. After all this time. Let's play some happy music. Well, we might not have Hot Boss back for this one, but at least those two are happy and friends again. No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in so doing, we can find the way back to our path. And once we've found our path, we can move on from our past mistakes towards a brighter future. At least, that's what I felt, looking at those two sisters make out. Not make out. Keep focused, guys, keep focused. Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe, thank you both for all you've done. Oh, maybe. Oh, Edgy's just slinking around behind us. Stop hiding and come over here. Frowny face. Congratulations. Right? Well, wrong. I think Gumshoe pointed it out a long time ago. There's sort of a trust between the detectives and the prosecutors. And the detectives broke it for Edgeworth from day one, unfortunately. By fabricating all that evidence and hiding stuff. He's got some serious self... Well, he needs to do some introspection here. He's gone too close to the dark side, one might say. Maybe he'll go become a superhero instead. He'll become Batman. Batworth. He has lost quite a lot of his mentors, indeed. In order to fight crimes alone, right? Aww, he wasn't alone. He had us. So cheesy. That's right. The only way we could find the real criminal was working as a team with the prosecution. Evidence that neither... Oh yeah, okay, that's easy. Remember the two halves of the evidence list? He had one, I had the other?
Take that.
Yeah. Counterattack began with this list. You had half, I had the other. Apart, we wouldn't have been able to completely restore Emma's picture. Time for him to sulk. Still some loose ends. Alright, Edgy. It's been fun. Just remember, what happened in this trial can either make or break you as a prosecutor. In the end, it's up to you. Haha, you owe me one. I'll be waiting for you in court. Oh good, another book! she loves books. Alright, I think that's about it. And so another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun. And as for me, I think it's time I started on a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself. Gumshoe, you're interrupting my reminiscence there. What do you want? The chief prosecutor, yeah? Right. So, what do you want me to do? You have to bribe a guard in order to sneak her out for 30 minutes. How do you think I have any money? We haven't even done any... I don't think we've ever been paid for a case in like 7 months. We've only done 4 cases. You at least have a salary. Oh, I'm supposed to speak to it. Objection! Oh no. Oh no! I can't do it! The button's not working, it's not loud enough! It's forcing me to say it out loud. Oh, I don't even know. Uh-oh. I'm not sure I can get past this screen right now on the emulator. I was holding down the Y key. I'm holding down all the keys. I've already turned. I had the mic input working for the fingerprint thing, but it's not working here. It's not like a real. It's not like a real DS. It's definitely not working. I can put a save state here, but I can't get past it. No, I'm pressing my make noise for the DS button. It's not doing anything. Oh, I can't believe I can't objection it. I'm trying out a couple different things, but I think this might be it. I can't see the ending without this. Microphone settings. You can use connected microphones, but it doesn't... I don't know how to set it properly. Like, it might even be using the wrong microphone for all I know. Ah, shoot. Oh well, I guess I'm gonna have to end it here because I can't seem to make it make noise. And I've been streaming for way too long. I know you just shout objection at it normally and it works, but I guess there's no way to get past it without saying objection. And I'm not sure I can do it right now. Objection! No, it didn't work. I thought I set it up to use the mic. Well, that's alright. So YouTube, if I figure out how to get past this later on, I might join to the video for you guys. So if you're lucky, you'll get to see the ending after this, but I'm going to cut it here for now. So if not, thanks for watching and hope you guys enjoyed the series, etc. Objection!
Objection!
Alright guys, I figured it out. Alright, so it's been actually months since I streamed this and got to the end of the game. And I've had a very difficult time getting some of these uploaded, so I'm not going to read through the conclusion here. You guys feel free to read the text there. I just want to finish up this game with a proper outro rather than stuck at the objection line. I just had to hold the button down on the controller. I actually, for the entire game during this live stream, I never had to use any of the DS's normal inputs ever. I just used the mouse the touchscreen mouse controls, basically. Mouse control and emulator, touchscreen if you're playing the actual game. And I'd forgotten that you actually have to activate the DS's mouse like by holding the Y button down. So it was kind of funny, because I didn't have any problem doing that back when I first played this game on my real DS, but for recording purposes, emulator was much easier. So anyway, if you guys have been watching this on YouTube, which I assume you're watching it on YouTube right now, I apologize for the delay in video releases. This because I recorded it while live streaming, a lot of well, footage wasn't missing, but some of the stuff was messed up a bit. I had to do a lot of editing and tweaking, and you may have noticed a couple of the videos are cut, and there's been a few changes to some of the previous episodes, and it's been busy for me, so that's my story. Anyway, I just wanted to say as an outro here that I did really enjoy this game, and I'm happy to share it with you guys. Once this video goes live, which should be like April 12th or something like that, I will start planning either another series, just a Let's Play series, or I'll try to see if I can figure out a way to live stream a couple events for the next game in the series, because I really enjoy this game, and it's got quite a few other games in the series for Phoenix Wright, and I haven't played them all by any means, so as much as this one I sort of knew what I was doing, sort of, there'll be other ones I'll be going into mostly blind, or nearly entirely blind, so that'd be cool. I feel like this is one of the weaker ending credit theme songs, actually. Like, I actually like the classical one more than this. This is kind of boring. I think when we finished episode 4, the one with Miles, I think it had a better ending music score and sort of party at the end there. This one's... feels like we're still in court, kinda, doesn't it? I'm also using, I've completely reinstalled Windows, and I'm using new recording software, or at least updated, so if my mic is way louder now, and it might be, I apologize. I have lots of stuff to tweak as I get this all sorted out. So, before I get to the next game in the next series, I will try to make sure I got this thing 100% sorted. It's nice, though, we get to read up on the ending bits of some of our characters. Some of these guys are in a bit of trouble, and maybe not a super happy ending for everyone. I should be paying at least some attention to the Cough Up Queen. A new meal on the menu, the Right Way lunch, that's great. Yeah, I love these things. Turnabout theme. Yeah, this entire, if you noticed, all of the episodes except for the final one, Rise from the Ashes, are actually Turnabout and then something else. That's the theme for Phoenix for sure. Starts low and turns it around. Rising from the Ashes. It's Phoenix. I mean, you got it, right? You get it. You'll probably forget for the next game, though. Yeah, like his name. I do remember. I know I heard that like in the initial Japanese release of the first game, I think it was on the Game Boy Advance originally. It actually ended at what was episode 4 for us, and then episode 5 with kind of I don't know where it came from exactly, but it's sort of like a bonus mission, which is why it has some of the new mechanics from games that are further on in the series, rather than they weren't in the first one, like the fingerprinting and the 3D puzzling, put stuff together stuff. Those are mechanics from future games that weren't in the first one. And the story kind of ended, like as far as Maya and Mia are concerned, at the 4th episode rather than this one. It was sort of, it's sort of a side story, I think. So maybe in the next game we'll find out what's going on with Maya again properly, and what Nick is actually up to for reals, because he was supposed to have disappeared after that one with Miles, where Miles was accused of murder, and then there was the horrible parrot and all that. You guys remember, right? So I expect we'll get some more big picture plot once we get to the next game and it continues the actual story, which is cool. I like that kind of stuff. I like it when everything's connected and there's a thread to the story you can follow. I mean, most of the characters in this scene were sort of one-offs. I don't know if we'll see them ever again, honestly. Maybe we will. Hopefully some of them come back. Yeah, okay. Maybe I could have just left this all cut out. It's like totally not the most exciting outro I've ever seen. Ah, she's going back to Europe, so there's your plot. She's gone, she disappeared, you'll never see her again. At least she's not going under the waterfalls. I do hope you... Oh, I actually have to do something here. I do hope you guys enjoyed the, What am I supposed to do here? Uh-oh, I wasn't ready for this. I do hope you guys have enjoyed the series. I had a lot of fun with it, but, I know there's been a lot... I guess I'm just supposed to examine that. Oh, I'm supposed to open it, okay. We found something. What do we get? Postcard? Ah, the old picture from the olden days, before everything went sour. I wonder if this is considered the good ending. Alright, I guess that's it, everybody. I hope you have enjoyed the series, and like I said, I'll be doing future games in the Phoenix Wright series at some point, because it's a lot of fun, and I will probably try to find a way to stream them as well. So, hope you guys have enjoyed, have a great day, and I will see you next time. I'm glad I was able to get this off to YouTube finally. See you guys.